Howdy, and welcome back to Morrigan's Creations. I'm Mark, and if you've been watching Terrain by Aaron's channel, you'll know I sent him a parcel. In that parcel was one of these. I think he might have got a Mandalorian one. I'm not that big on Star Wars, I don't really know a lot about it, so I think this is a clone trooper. And yeah, the quality is not the best. I got it on sale for about £4. Yeah, do with that what you want. To me, that's still quite expensive. But I decided that I was going to put mine on just on a Warhammer base, and I was going to see what I could do with it. So to bulk out my base, I'm going to go ahead and use Old Faithful, and that is cork floor tile. Now, if you've seen my last video, you know I like to go a little bit crazy with the bases, but for this one, since it was a £4 toy, I didn't want to go too crazy, so I just went with a cork base and making it look a bit like a desert, some kind of weird planet, typical Mars looking stuff. Now, I actually quite liked the original base that the model came on, as it slotted in, and if done correctly it would look like it is actually floating. So I decided that I was going to repurpose that, use my snips, and I was going to glue it and hide it in my own base, so that it's got something very easy that it knows that it can attach to. And yeah, it's going to be hidden by a lot of the rock. Speaking of rock, we're going to come in with Hobbycraft's tacky glue. I used a fair bit of this because I wanted a lot of this sand to stick. I spread it out with just a cheap brush before I moved in with some mixed sand. So I've got a fair few different grits of sand, a few bits of gravel in there as well. And it's just easy to tip it all over, pat off the excess, and yeah, you just have to seal it in with a bit of isopropyl alcohol and some runny PVA glue. With the base now dry, I decided that I was going to attach the model, and I really didn't like it, as I could tell how cheap the model actually was. So I decided that I was going to do the Morrigan's Creations treatment. So I came in with Vallejo matte black primer, and I sprayed that through my airbrush. A little bit of flow improver in there just to make sure that it makes its way through the airbrush. I made sure I had a nice good coat of that, and then I moved on to spraying it with Vallejo's white primer. I'm just focusing that as a zenithal from above, and that's going to do a lot of the work for me with the white armour. Now, one downside that I did notice was, because I'd originally started with that black primer, the white primer now became slightly grey. So me being me, I couldn't let it go. And instead of just dry brushing the whole model white, I decided that I was going to do it my way and go through and meticulously paint all the white armour. And one of the ways that I've learnt to paint white armour over the years is to not actually use white paint. So I came in with AK Interactive's Ivory, thinned that down quite a bit, because if you don't, it seems to go a little bit chalky, not so much as Citadel paints. But by really thinning it down, you're going to make sure that you're going to get some nice smooth gradients. Now, I didn't actually go too smooth with my gradients, as I didn't want to spend as much time on it as I did with, say, Reikenor or the Kroxigor. So I kept it down to probably about 3-4 coats of white, well, ivory. But I think it turned out good enough. It's good enough from a distance. I'd say definitely tabletop ready. For the speeder, I actually took a different approach, and I came in with some tweezers and a little bit of sponge, this kitchen sponge, just ripped up a little bit, and I'm coming in with that ivory. I'm just going to sponge that on so it's going to look like chipped paint. I'm going to make sure that I do this across the entirety of the bike before I go in and douse it with a bit of Seraphim Sepia. So I did this in quite a thick pass, but I come back in with a little bit of that kitchen sponge I'm just going to dab off any of the excess, revealing that ivory underneath. After coming back in with that ivory and doing a little bit of edge highlighting, I then decided that I'd go and paint some of what Aaron likes to call the Go Faster stripes. I did have to mark out these ahead of time because I do actually use my phone as a reference as well as a camera. So yep, I marked them in and I painted them in with a dark red from Citadel, which is called Word Bearers Red. As always, this was watered down with a little bit of tap water, and I did maybe 2 coats of this just to get some full coverage. Any of the actual metallics, I came in with a bit of lead belcher. I'd say this is probably my favourite metallic paint from Citadel. It's got very nice coverage and it's quite a nice gunmetal colour. Finish off the Clone Trooper, I came in with a Baden Black just on the visor and parts of the gloves. I finished off the base using Thondia Brown through the airbrush, focused this onto all the rock, allowing for a little bit of overspray to go onto the bike itself, as it's going to show that it's been kicking up a fair bit of dust. I then came in again with Ratskin Flesh and I repeated the same process just in a little smaller area. And after painting the base rim black, the model was finished. As always, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, don't forget to leave a comment. And yeah, make sure you check out Terrain by Aaron. So he's going to have a video working on his model as well. And yeah, it's going to be good seeing what he's come up with. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, go check him out. Let him know that I sent you. And with that, I will see you in the next video next week. Bye.